Today we are going to cover lecture 9, which is about quality of service, evaluation, and the user experience. So this is some of the good information here we're going to get, and you will find these slides very effective. Yeah, let's see how it goes. But anyway, okay, so we will go straight into our slides. And we've got, apart from introduction, we have got expert reviews and heuristics. We've got usability testing, laboratories, survey instruments, acceptance tests. There are a few important topics here, and I hope these topics will also help you with your upcoming assignment. So that's where it could be useful. So anyway, let's look into some of the. Okay, we'll also look at evaluation during active use and beyond, and some control psychologically oriented experiments. Okay, now first of all, in introduction, some of the slides are very clear here. Designers can become so entranced with their creations that they might fail or forget to evaluate them adequately. Some of the issues arise when proper testing is not done. So that is very important. We need to have proper testing for whatever design you have developed. So that will make sure that whatever you are doing is absolutely perfect, flawless, error free. So some of the detriments of the evaluation plan may include the stage of design. It could be early, middle, or maybe at the later stages. Novelty of projects, as we know that projects vary from one to another. Number of expected users could be an issue as well. Cost of product and finances allocated for testing. Time available. So there are lots of things, which can be issues. Sometimes testing is overlooked. It can happen in some places, but if you overlook today, it might come to bite you later. It is a possibility. So when we talk about testing, we say it is an important process and must be carried out. Okay, now let's keep moving to the next slide now. Okay, now in the next slide, we're talking about usability evaluators must broaden their methods and be open to non-empirical methods such as user sketches, consideration of design alternatives, and ethnographic studies. The design team needs to be involved with search on the current system, design drawbacks. Also, the usability testing should become an established and accepted part of the design process. So the emphasis is on that don't overlook testing and keep it as one of the integral part of your design process. That's what the clear message is, and it should be carried and it should be conveyed very explicitly that without proper testing, designers will not go ahead. Designers' own reputation will be at risk if later on it is found or identified that there were some like the testing was overlooked, or maybe that can cause issues, and those issues need to be addressed first before the final design is launched. Okay, now we keep continue our discussion here. Okay, now polling question for the students is to in which situation it is appropriate to employ a usability evaluation method. Only when the design of the product is finished. I don't think so. The A is the correct answer. Only when the product is implemented in the working place. B doesn't look like a good answer. C looks very good answer. It is not. It is needed throughout the entire design process. So it is a common sense answer. Common sense approach as well. That without overlooking, without ignoring the testing importance, the design should not be built. If we are doing some design process, we should keep the testing as one of the very important elements of our work. This is very important as well. So well, keep moving to next slide here, we're talking about expert reviews and heuristics. This is also important as well. I mean, this is being done now for over now 40 years, but things are getting better and better now. Like you could give something to your, like informally, to your colleagues, to customers to have a look. But now what is important is when you are paying some expert like reviews for something which you have done is considered more effective and is better. This is what is happening. So expert reviews can entail 1/2 to 1 week effort, although a lengthy training period may sometimes be required to explain the task domain or operational procedures. So this is something important, and should not be underestimated. There are a variety of expert reviewed methods to choose from. We're going to look at some of them. Expert reviews can be scheduled at several points in the development process when experts are available and when the design team is ready for feedback. Different experts tend to find different problems in an interface. Maybe 3 to 5 experts reviews can be highly productive. This is also a possibility, and as can complementary usability testing. So we're talking about usability testing, and we are emphasizing the importance of that. And one should understand from the designer's perspective. As you remember that so far we have been talking from day one of our course, that designers focus on this, they focus on that. But now we have brought you to this week when you are going to do your assignment next week as well, that the importance of testing and how it is necessary and why it is important to do this throughout your design life cycle. So we will have a look at a few more things here, and then we will also have a look at, okay, now testing laboratories concept is being growing. It is becoming common that laboratories can be effective, can play important role, as you can see here. So now this just picture just shows you a testing room, or maybe you can call it an observation room, or a laboratory. So these kind of things are becoming important as well. So, as you enter into your practical life, you will see if you are doing, let's say, for example, if you are doing software development somewhere, and that will require you to do comprehensive testing before you launch your final product. So, same thing happens here. If you are doing a design process of anything, you make sure that you have done your sufficient or comprehensive testing before the final product is launched. That is how important it is. So anyway, keep moving here. Okay, I'm going to show you a kind of a life cycle of step-by-step usability guide. So if you look at here, in this step-by-step usability guide, we start from the planning phase where we develop a plan. We assemble project team. We write a work statement, what we need to do. You remember, you guys may have done this kind of thing in project 4, assignment assignment 4 part 1. This is exactly what you guys did. You prepared a team, you wrote a statement of work, what is needed to be done. So you did these kind of things. As you know that we all moved around, and this was important as well. Anyway, like usually a kickoff meeting is done just to ensure that the project is now officially underway. Analyze, this is the next stage. Here you specify different requirements, different specifications are done here. You learned about your users. A lot of things that happen here. So you write scenarios, develop different projects, programs. A lot of things happen here as well. You also set your measurable goals. So this is an important stage as well, before you finally get into the designing phase. Designing phase, guys, as you can see, we're going to look at, like say, determine site requirements, conduct content inventory, a lot of things, define so many things. So it's something, we all go for it, and it's the like kind of a stage where we also end up launching our site if we are doing a, let's say, a website design or something. Testing and refinement, guys, this is like a continuous process, should be adopted throughout. So this process, we also make sure types of evaluation, usability testing is done, heuristic evaluation is done, implementation is done. If something is something is needed to be refined, it is refined. So these are some of the important stages which we need to do, which we need to complete, so it is kind of a, very good guide here, step by step, shows you how a usability guide can, or testing can be performed throughout a project. So this is kind of a project life cycle, and I guess you guys can get a lot of understanding from here, a lot of meaning is here, and this um, image here exemplifies clearly that how usability testing should be performed. Yeah, basically. So please, guys, keep looking at here as well. Okay, now we're going to show you some more example here. Maybe in terms of, let's say, suppose if you have developed a like kind of a project, or let's say a product, you have developed a product here, and if this product, let's say, suppose in this one, she is wearing a specific glass, which you, of course, you don't wear in your daily life, but maybe, and this is being used for eye tracking. She is doing something on a phone. We don't know it yet what she's doing, but it might be, if it's being used for something. So basically the purpose is that this glass what she is wearing needs to be fully tested, and over again, to ensure correctness is performance when it is needed most. This is basically the entire function of these things here anyway, So anyway, keep moving to more slides here. We've got again a question here. Let's do the question here. Sometime we don't do this question, sometime we do. Okay, that's all right. Which of the following statement is true? A is a good UI, which is a user interface design, doesn't save money and it is expensive. I will not agree with this sentence, but it's better to spend money now rather than later, when you have to do rework and a lot of redoing, so it's better to spend money now. A bad Okay, B option is bad user interface design doesn't really affect the reputation of the company. Yeah, guys, I think it will, nobody likes if a bad product is coming from the door of a company. So, so it does definitely affect company's reputation, company's name can be tarnished. Something I will say one needs to take into consideration. you know. C is a good design user interface. It saves time and effort. I guess it is definitely a true statement. It can, it does. The reason is, if you have to do something again, which means rework, it costs you money, costs you time, you know, and you have to direct your resources to do that task which you already had done before. And is it not a good idea, So I will say the C option sounds pretty good. It looks good. Okay, we will read the D statement as well. The user interface design doesn't matter as long as the product is great. Now, I think it does matter, So, I mean, if the product can be great, but if the product is having flaws or errors, then that great product all of a sudden becomes kind of a lemon, which means no good, so it is really something, we need to sort out, but anyway, let's keep moving again, guys. Okay, now in this again, some information is being shown here. This looks like a kind of a airport check-in, like these days, a lot of airports are using self check-ins, where you can go. You might have seen yourself at some of the airports, In Australia, these machines operate, and often they are seen at the busy airports, like Sydney Airport is one of the busiest airports. So yeah, what my point is, whatever she is doing here, what if this thing doesn't work on a busy airport on a busy day, So there will be a chaos, there will be long queues at the airport, which airport management doesn't want to see, but that's why they will make sure that the product your company is developing and delivering and installing at the airport is really really good. That's something it needs to be done. I will strongly advise, whoever is thinking about is like they should think about it. It's definitely an important factor as well. Okay, now guys, let's. Guys, just give me 1 sec. I'll be with you shortly. I just want to make sure that everything is recording correctly or not. Just hold on. Okay, let's start again. We hope everything is being recorded. Yeah. All right, guys. All right. Where we left now, we will start from where we left. Okay, after this example, uh, we will go to, okay, let me check one more thing here as well, whether are we, okay, more settings. Yeah, so far looks like okay to me. Yeah, looks like everything is being recorded. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Okay, now after this example, we can look at, I mean, there will be dozens of examples, I mean, things which are developed by different organizations, like say, suppose your own mobile phone, what it is supposed to do, it should do. So if you think it should record good movies, should take good photos, that is what it should do, because you have paid top dollars and you don't expect that these things will underperform. Something is important as well, to consider. Okay, another example is this mobile camera to track and record activities on a mobile device. So maybe you can see here, for whatever purpose the camera is there, it is doing what it's supposed to do. So to ensure that this device is correctly operating, functioning, we need to perform detailed, extensive usability testing to ensure that at the time when this device will be required to do whatever it is supposed to do, will do. This is basically the meaning of these devices is, and that is dependent on, to a large extent, that whether we have done correct usability testing or not. So guys, think about it. This is important as well. Okay, now some more information. We're going to cover about laboratories which have been around, as I said to you, around 40 years now. So they can they can be very useful in speeding up many projects, and they can be very important in cutting costs as well. Sometimes softwares, websites, and things like that are developed, but then what happens, that when they are put into practice, they fail, and that is something quite embarrassing for the company as well. And it can be quite like disastrous for the company which is operating, as I said to you, the example at the airport. Imagine how many people will be in the queue if the those selfing machines are not working. So think about it. This is important. The movement towards usability testing has stimulated the construction of usability laboratories, because when they realize that the testing is an important part, integral part of our design process, then they opened laboratories. Then these laboratories became quite popular, quite good, and they're working very well now. So, I mean, like times have changed, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Now, testing is considered an important element of our design process. Yeah. Okay, participation should be voluntary and informed consent should be obtained. Professional ethics practices to ask all subjects to read and sign a statement like this. So, I mean, like, see, you have to comply with legal and ethical requirements, which should be done, with the consent of all parties concerned. That is important as well. So, used to be, it still is, I think, videotaping participants performing tasks is often valuable for later review and for showing designers or managers the problem that users encounter. It used to be a practice, it still might be somewhere as well. Many variant forms of usability testing have been tried, so definitely, So usability test reports are widely used, to ensure that the process has been correctly done, substantiated, and yeah, that's basically these kind of things are important too, you know. So anyway, apart from this, guys, okay, we're gonna look at now surveys. We all know the importance of surveys. They are common and they are often done to get the feedback from the users, so they are very familiar, guys, inexpensive, and they are generally acceptable companion for usability testing and expert reviews. Some of the keys to successful surveys you can talk about, like users could be asked for their subjective impressions about the specific aspects of the interface, such as the representation of task domain objects and actions. So these are kind of important things here as well, so, some more information about survey instruments. Other goals would be to ascertain user background is important. We should know gender, origins, education, income levels. So these things can also play important role as well. Job responsibilities, decision making, influence, managerial roles, motivation, they all play an important role. Reasons for not using an interface, inadequate services, too complex, too slow. So there are so many reasons, which can be there. Familiarity with features, printing, macros, shortcuts, tutorials, they all play important role. So it is important, So another polling question here for students is to which of the following is not true about good design? You know, a good design is just school graphics. I will say it is which following is the following is true. Well, yeah, good design is just common sense. I think it is probably yes. Good design comes from an iterative process when with the users in the loop. I think this sounds better than A and B. Good design can come from fixing the UI at the end. I don't think so. The last D option is correct, but I will say the A, B, C options are very good. C looks pretty close and probably better than A and B. Yeah, it's important that we keep the losers in the loop. That is important as well. We don't want losers to be out of the process or out of the radar. That's what we don't want. We want them to be part of the system, part of the using mechanism. That is quite important as well. Okay, now instruments. Online surveys avoid the cost of printing and extra effort needed for distribution and collection of paper form. I mean, gone the days when we used to print these things, but still those printing papers can be seen at conferences. I attend conferences, regularly, and at the just before the end of the conference, we are given kind of a like a paper-based survey. That is mostly to write our feedback about the lectures or about the different speakers who speak there, and sometimes it's quite good. Some people, most of them, I think, fill up. They find it all right, it's okay. But these days, online surveys have become very common, very popular. So why not use them? So some of the QUIS is one of the websites which provide a number of surveys. So there are many surveys which can be used as well. So even on mobile phones, surveys are available to suit the mobile phone screen. So maybe content compatibility with mobile phones. Yeah, acceptance test, guys, this is one of the most important ones, which is performed to ensure that your design process is flawless and error free. So for large implementation projects, the customer or manager usually sets objectives and measurable goals for hardware and software performance. And it is true. If the completed product fails to meet these acceptance criteria, system must be reworked until success is demonstrated. It is very important, for hardware and softwares these days. You go through all these testing regime, like all the rigorous testing which is done to ensure that the product, software, or hardware will perform as they are supposed to perform. That is very, very important as well. Rather than the vague and misleading criteria of user-friendly measurable criteria for the user interface can be established for the following reasons. I'm going to show you those as well. In a large system, there may be 8 or 10 such tests to carry out on different components of the interface and with different user communities. So this is also important as well. Once accepting testing has been successful, there may be a period of field testing before national or international distribution. So as I said to you, a lot of testing processes will be carried out to ensure in different settings, of course, and but when with different users, that is also important as well. So now this testing regime management is kind of a very big like a kind of a system, which uh, which is usually which is used by many organizations to ensure that their product is error free and will work comprehensively, correctly, efficiently. Yeah, that's what basically the purpose is. All right, guys, apart from that, evaluation during an active use beyond is also important as well. Successful active use requires constant attention from dedicated managers, users, services personnel, and maintenance staff. All right, guys, it's not just that you are using a product, but you are not maintaining it. To maintain the product is an important factor because it ensures that the product's life will increase and it will work when it is required most. So maintenance is something which needs to be done all the time, so this is kind of like a care, or you can say aftercare. You have received something, but now your job is to perform or do aftercare. So make sure that that product, whether it's a software, whether it's a hardware, is being looked after properly. Perfection is not attainable, but percentage improvements are possible. So of course, interviews and focus group discussions can also be set up. So we're talking about continuous user performance data logging. The software architecture should make it easy for system managers to collect data about. A major benefit is guidance to system maintainers in optimizing performance and reducing costs for all participants. I mean, it is good to spend money early rather than spend more money later. That is something what now the modern organization have learned the hard way. It wasn't the case, I would say, 20, 30 years ago, but in the last 20 years, things have changed. Now, organizations are realizing the importance of testing, maintenance, and aftercare, so these things are very important. Online or chat consultants, email, and online suggestion boxes can be also very useful. Many users feel reassured if they know there is a human assistance available on some social network system. The consultants can monitor the system's computer and see the same display that the user sees. So these are kind of improvement as well. Online suggestion box, guys, are common these days, or email. These things are important as well. Electronic mail to the maintainers or designers. For some users, writing a letter may be seen as requiring too much effort. So things are changing as well. Discussion groups, wikis groups, news groups, they all are playing important role as well. So before we used to have American Online and Yahoo, they set up quite powerful groups, but now these two organizations have gone, I will say disappeared. Other organizations have emerged very powerful. So yeah, guys, things are okay. Almost we're gonna show you one of the examples of an automated evaluation tool from one of the software developers, which is TechSmiths More. So this shows you kind of some search results they have done if on an evaluation tool they use. So just a, like an image from the software. Okay, now this is important as well. Control psychologically oriented experiment. Scientific and engineering progress is often stimulated by improved technique for precise measurement. That is true, very true as well. Rapid progress in the design of interfaces will be stimulated as researchers and practitioners evolve suitable human performance measures and techniques. That is so true as well. Things are going that way. The outline of the scientific method as applied to human computer interaction might comprise these tasks: deal with practical problems and consider the theoretical framework, state a lucid and testable hypothesis, identify a small number of independent variables that are to be manipulated, choose carefully the dependent variables that will be measured. So these things are very important in, from that, if you can see from that perspective. Control experiments can help fine tune the human computer interface of actively used systems. If the systems which are in actively used, we need to fine tune them. Yeah, performance could be compared with other or with the control groups. So dependent measures could include performance times, user subjective satisfaction, error rates, and user retention over time. So these are important factors, especially reducing errors, and that can be very, very effective as well. All right, guys, almost we have finished here. So just summarize the main points, some of the main points we have covered in the classroom. We will discuss more in tutorial class, which is the was the most likely topic for today's class, and why do you think it was most important in today's class. And also we would like to look at some of the least important topics which you can also discuss in the classroom as well. All right, guys, I thank you, all of you, for being patient and listening to these lecture slides here. I will see you next time with lecture 10 class. Okay. All right, guys, for the time being, then I will say to you goodbye from now on. And it's good to be with you. Please stay in the tutorial class. We will have some important discussion to complete in the tutorial class. Yeah. Thank you very much.